The old lady in apartment 3B, Maria Delgado, arrived in Savannah with nothing but a suitcase, a nursing degree, and a heart still healing from heartbreak. She was 26, broke and hopeful. The charm of the southern city felt like a fresh start, a place where people still waved at strangers, and Spanish moss hung like secrets in the trees. She found work through a local care agency, assigned to look after an elderly woman named Helen Whitmore. Helen lived alone, in an aging apartment building near Forsyth Park. The unit was small and smelled faintly of lavender and dust. Nothing about it suggested wealth or luxury. It had mismatched furniture, faded curtains, and a blind old cat named Biscuit, who spent most of his day napping under the heater. To Maria, Helen was just another patient, a kind but quiet woman who needed help moving around, taking her medications, and getting through the loneliness of old age. She seemed to have no visitors, no family, and no one checking in. Maria quickly grew attached. She began coming in early, staying late, bringing homemade meals, and chatting with Helen even after her shifts ended. Despite the apparent simplicity of her life, Helen had a sharp tongue and a sharper mind. She'd say things that made Maria pause, cryptic, almost poetic phrases. Be careful who you trust, Carino. Some smiles hide knives. There's more truth in silence than in any confession. Some people bury the past not to forget it, but to keep others from digging. Maria thought it was just age and wisdom talking. She never pushed. Then, one rainy evening, Helen collapsed while reaching for her tea. Maria acted fast, called 911, and rode with her to the hospital. She stayed through the night, curled in a plastic chair beside her bed, holding Helen's hand as monitors beeped steadily in the dark. At sunrise, Maria woke to find a tall man in a designer suit standing silently at the foot of Helen's bed. His presence filled the room. "Mother," he said. Maria blinked in confusion. This was the first time she'd ever heard Helen had a son. Helen opened her eyes slowly, locked eyes with the man, and said in a low, calm voice, "You're not my son. You're the thief who tried to erase him." The tension in the room turned thick and electric. Maria felt like she had walked into the middle of a family drama she knew nothing about. The man was Julian Whitmore, CEO of Whitmore Holdings, one of the wealthiest real estate dynasties in Georgia. He left the room without a word, and Helen refused to explain. But that moment sparked something in Maria. Later that week, Helen handed Maria a small, leather-bound journal and a single key. "I couldn't trust anyone with this," she said, "but you've shown me kindness with no price tag. It's yours now." The journal was filled with strange notes, names, dates, and hand-drawn maps. The key belonged to a safety deposit box at a private bank downtown. What Maria found inside would change everything. The box contained documents, original company filings, letters, and even a cassette tape with a recorded conversation. Proof that Julian and several business partners had forged documents to declare Elias Whitmore, Helen's real son, legally dead. In truth, Elias had survived a staged accident, but fled after threats to his life. Julian took over the family business, erased Elias from all records, and manipulated Helen into silence with fear and isolation. Maria took the evidence to a trusted lawyer. What followed was a media storm. The story exploded. Headlines across Georgia read, "Whitmore Empire under fire for decades-old cover-up." The biggest twist came days later, when a man came forward from Belize, claiming to be Elias Whitmore. DNA confirmed the impossible. Helen's son was alive. He had been hiding, waiting, watching. The reunion between Helen and Elias was emotional, private, and deeply healing. And Maria, Helen made her the heir to the trust Elias had secretly protected all these years.